everybody. Today I am here with Matt Wild of Pyramid Mass.
What's up?
Um, yeah, so you're the first guest on that I have any kind of like history with.
Cool.
So, circa 2013, I started a record label called Fake Art, Fake Music. I go to a show downtown and I see this band, Hell Bear, and you're playing drums in that.
Tight.
Immediately, I'm like, this band rips. What are you guys doing? And everyone was pretty much like, nothing right now.
We have no idea.
We're maybe going to record with my friend Hunter.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, dope, I got this little label. You want to put out some vinyl?
If I could back up a little, which venue did you see us at?
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Oh shit! So that was in Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg, yeah.
Yes, I remember. There was a cancer benefit show. That
Yeah.
was awesome. I really, really loved that show.
Yeah.
It was a cool
And I feel
spot.
like I was pretty much there just because of Hunter. So
Yeah.
I wasn't familiar with any other bands. I don't think that were playing that show.
Yeah.
But I just saw you guys and I was like, wow, this isn't even like my normal thing. Like I'm not super. I love lots of extreme music now, but especially back then, that was probably I was newer to that.
Yeah.
And
Some country boys playing
yeah,
thrash metal.
yeah.
That's fun.
But yeah, so we decided to put out the record. You guys record it, and then I remember us putting it out. Y'all going on like maybe tops like a 2-week tour, which I can't even remember if it was billed this way, but in my head it was just like your farewell tour, because you got back from the tour and then the band was just over. And I was sitting there like still a new guy doing a label type thing, and I'm like, well, fuck, what do I do with, how do I sell a record by a band that just broke up? And it was the second time it had happened, because I had worked with another band where like I swear like a week or two before the record came out, they kicked out the singer. And so then there was just everything was just totally different. I'm like, and they're like, we're working on this new stuff with, you know, other members of the band singing. And I was like, that all sounds great too, but like, what do I do with this record? Like I made 500 of these and the singer's not even in the band anymore. Damn.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that's pretty much, that was like towards the end of 2013.
Yeah.
You guys had broken up. I always thought you were like super awesome. Like you had like a sweet soul, I would say.
Thanks, Bobby. I can definitely say the same about you.
Nice. And so then 2014 that I hit like my own like roadblock of like I'm a total alcoholic and I can't. Yeah, slowly everything kind of turned into a dumpster fire, but I had no tools. Like I'm a 20-something-year-old with like no communication skills. Like when things are going bad, I don't talk to people.
Right.
I just shove that shit
I
down.
would bottle it up. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like having like my house at the time had like a mold problem. So you know, I had people that are like, hey, when are we going to do this record? And I'm like, man, this mold problem cost like $6,000, which was like all of my money, more money than I have actually. So I don't know, like give me a week to figure it out. And then it was doing that with everybody. And then eventually it would get to the point to where like I couldn't even talk to my friends because my friends know other people. Like everybody's so connected in this world or in that world at the time that I got myself boxed out, or I boxed myself out so badly that like by the middle of 2014 I would go months without talking to anybody. Like unless I lived with you or I worked with you and I could not avoid you, I would just not talk to anybody. Even my mom, like I would go, you know, 6 months without talking to them for no reason, but just like my own weird like guilt and own just, you know,
Yeah, dude.
I don't know, beating myself up. Yeah.
Straight
And then yeah,
isolation,
still drinking, you know,
Yeah.
drinking and smoking and all of just whatever I could do. Like I learned what airplane mode was and I was like, great, nobody can get to me now.
Just put your life on airplane mode.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that was like a lot of years. From like there to like at least I would say 20 21, 22,
Mm-hmm.
like post-pandemic. Like the pandemic, I think actually helped me
Same.
personally, where it started making me course correct.
Yeah, same. I went through a lot in that in those 2 years that helped me figure out the trajectory of where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the drinking and all of that
Yeah.
nonsense that I was participating in.
Yeah, I mean, like once you're in the loop, it's hard to get out of it. And it's hard when everybody around you, too, typically is in the loop.
Yeah.
And my biggest problem was everybody would always just be like, nah, dude, you're great. Like, you're good. You're doing the best.
That positive reinforcement that's actually toxic. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're
And I'm
not
just
doing
sitting
what you
here
wanna do.
like, yo, I'm doing terrible. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, you're not in my skin. I don't think you can understand that this is not working for me.
Right, nobody can tell that.
And
from
even
you.
doing it in moderation was not working for me.
No, I
Um,
feel that for sure.
but yeah, so I was like more curious to start. So like 2015 to like 2016, I noticed that's kind of where you start this other band, Pyramid Mass, or it's called maybe Doubtfire.
It is called Doubtfire when we started, yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
But I have no recollection of any of this. Like all of that's happening totally separate because I'm over here in my pit of like not communicating with the world.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Even like Facebook and stuff like that. I remember when I was first starting to like understand that I had a problem. I remember talking to like one person and I was like, they should be able to get me or help me or something. And their answer was, but you're the happiest person I know. Like, look at your Facebook. Because I was just a, positivity puker. Like,
Yeah.
like, anything bad or if I had anything negative to say, I would bottle it up.
Right, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, of course you're not going to be posting
so,
about that
yeah.
stuff. Right, yeah.
But then, yeah, so basically, like 2014 on, I never logged back into Facebook. So, yeah, so I just have, like,
Yeah, good
so what have you been up to since then is basically what I'm, like, kind of getting at.
Man, yeah, gosh. After Hellbear broke out, it was like, I was like, well, I gotta keep playing music or I'm gonna lose my mind. And so I ran into some friends that were looking for a drummer, and it was a totally different style of music than what I was used to.
Mhm.
And it was kind of like two bands kind of emerged at once when Hellbear stopped. So the first one was Cardinal Compass, which is Hannah Marie Staniford, Jake Zimba, and Natalie Natquick. And so we were like an Americana with Hannah being the singer-songwriter.
Wow. That is a big jump.
It was totally different, and it was a great challenge for me to learn how to record in that type of atmosphere, to be able to practice restraint, dynamics, figuring out like what contrast means when you're writing rhythm sections in music, and how much weight it carries. I learned a lot about being like about finesse, whereas before I was just like a caveman on a drum.
Hellbear was very like more the thrash metal
Yeah.
kind of side of things. Yeah.
So Cardinal Compass taught me a lot, and we recorded. They were in the middle of a recording when I joined them, so I helped them finish that, and then we had at least 2 more EPs after that I was on. So it was like Born Homesick was the first one that was like a bunch of different recording artists, and Ready Made was the second EP, and then the other one, Born Homesick. I might be mixing that up. I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of Cardinal Compass stuff in quite a while. But that was fun. And then we also, I was talking with Keith Paul, and we started Promethean. So
Okay.
Promethean was...
I actually think I've heard the name.
Yeah, Promethean was like a prog group, instrumental. It started out as a 2-piece, and it was Keith and I, and then we eventually added Tristan Brennis,
Mhm.
Because I met Tristan at the first Cardinal Compass show, and he was playing in Love Bullets and Dynamite with our friend Greg Collins, and
Oh.
that's how I met him. And I was like, oh, cool. And so I was like, what are y'all doing? And he was like, we kind of need a drummer. And I was like, I'll do that. And so I was doing Love Bullets and Dynamite, Cardinal Compass, and Promethean at one point. And then, like, LBD didn't really last too long. And so when that kind of broke up, it was like, I was like, hey, Tristan, you want to play in Promethean? And he was like, yeah,
Hmm.
that sounds great. So we started doing that. We recorded an album, and we got Alan Simpson from This Time It's War to play bass on it.
Oh,
And
wow.
he also played with us live at a Strange Matter show that Silver Persinger recorded. And JK was on sound, and we got all that, and that's on YouTube. But and then um, shoot, well, that was wow. It's crazy what like time does. And when I'm trying to recollect this stuff during my drinking years, because this was actually, this wasn't this wasn't after the last Hellbear breakup. This was in between when Hellbear broke up the first time, and so this was before you met me.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So then, okay, yeah. So
I
then,
don't even know that I vaguely remember you playing in Cardinal Compass around the kind of time where I was still paying attention.
okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe there was overlap with that
yeah,
and the end of Hellbear
yeah. My
or
brain
the
just
second round
shuffled the
of
cards
Hellbear.
on me really quick with time. So then, yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah. um, so I so when Hellboy broke up the second time, Keith was like Dumbwaiter was already a thing, and because like when Promethean was done, Tristan and Keith teamed up with Nick and Nate, and started Dumbwaiter. And so then Dumbwaiter was a thing when Hellbear ended. And so then that's when I started, because I had been getting to know Nick at that time too, because I didn't really know Nick. I knew everybody in Dumbwaiter really well except for Nick. And
Mm.
so Nick and I started talking about doing something heavy and kind of like experimental. And
Hmm.
so we're like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. And so we started our little two piece. We didn't know what the hell to call it. And we're just doing this crazy, like, spastic carnival math rock. And um,
Is this Gorak?
Doubtfire. This is
Oh,
Doubtfire.
Okay,
So
okay,
then
this is the
I
beginning.
was
Okay.
like, let's call it Doubtfire, because I don't know why I originally. I just
I mean,
thought
I
it
just think
sounded
of
cool.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Of
That was my
course.
first.
Of
But that was
course.
me driving here, not realizing that it had a previous name. But the liner notes for like your very first little 3-song EP said Doubtfire as
Yes.
like the band. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
huh, all right.
Yeah, for the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, demonstration or whatever demonstration. That was recorded by Evan. That was at Duh Temple. That was our first thing ever. That was cool. But that was when Joey joined. So before we even got there,
Yeah, it was a 3-piece.
yeah, before we even got there, we were just two. And so after we named it Doubtfire, a week later, Robin Williams committed suicide. And we were
Figures.
like, holy fuck. And I love Robin.
Hmm.
And big fan since I was a kid. And I was like, I took it as a sign. Like, yeah, fuck it. We got to name it this. Like, in
Yeah.
honor of him
It's
now.
a legacy
You
now.
kind of, yeah. I was like, dude, he's such a legend. So we stuck with that. And then we played our first show at the Compound. Couldn't even tell you who we opened for. And at the end of that set, people liked it and was like, yo, you guys sound great. You should find a bass player for this. Joey Anderson was at the show and he's like, I'll do it. And that's how we joined the band.
Yeah.
So we
That was
ended up.
very smooth.
Yeah, it's so
oh,
easy.
Oh,
Like,
you guys need that bass player?
Yeah, it's
Got you.
actually this guy right here. Couldn't have asked for a better lineup, honestly.
So has it been you three since then? That's
So it's been us
impressive.
three since then, totally. We added John Hawkins from Navi
Okay.
and Oppen. He also goes by Thumper. Um, he does like electronic modular synth beats and stuff. It's really
Yo,
cool. You'll
I
like
gotta
it.
check that out.
You're gonna dig it, yeah, for sure. Um, so that's when we became Doubtfire as like modular grindcore, because we had John's crazy synth going on over our shit, and so we played a show at the live album was we played a show at Gallery 5, and then we had John, and then James Soretis did sound that night, and it was the old setup when the sound booth was way in the back, and the stage was where it was originally, where it is now, before they moved it, and James was like, "Y'all sounded so tight and good. I want to record what you just did." And then we talked about it, and we all found out we had the next day off. There was no show, and Gallery just let us keep all of our stuff there, and we just came back the next day and did it again.
So you just did a live recording of everything. Oh, that's so sick.
So James came back and he captured everything, and that was the live at Gallery 5 recording that we did, and the only thing that has John on it. And then after that, he got really busy.
Yeah, it's funny. That was one of, so like you have Gargling Rot, which is your latest one. I listened to that. I skipped the one before it, Monolith, maybe.
Yeah.
Just due to time, I could only listen to so much on the way, and I'm never the most prepared person, so I was like, let me listen to like Pyramid Mass on the way here. Like, I'm definitely more of a let me listen to stuff live, and then usually it takes me 2 or 3 times of seeing a band live where I'm like, I love this band, and then I finally start listening to their recorded output.
Totally.
So yeah, the 2 that I didn't listen to were the live EP and Monolith.
Word.
So I have to go back.
Yeah.
Is that the, like the dawn of where? Because I noticed like on that first demo, there wasn't as much of the synth stuff. Yeah, it almost did sound almost, even with the bass there, because I think it was a 3-piece. You could barely hear the bass. It was very much sounded like almost like a guitar drum, vocal kind of at record. But then I noticed, it was probably the one after the demo, or not the demo, the live record, where you noticed more of the synth stuff start happening.
Yeah, because Joey started incorporating the synth more, and so Nick's guitar kind of sounds like a synth at sometimes. And then when John joined, he was synth, all synth, and so Joey didn't have to, Joey's on bass, and then so Monolith is when we actually start using actual synth.
Okay.
And he brought his Nord in, and tracked some really cool synth to give it this atmospheric type of movie soundtrack vibe.
It gets really dense.
Yeah, to just give it some more density for sure. And then now with Gargling Rot, he'll play the key. It's not because like it was studio magic, with Monolith. It was just like he brought the keyboard into the studio. We weren't doing that on stage, but now he's got the keyboard out on stage, and he's got like the organ pedals.
Yeah, the foot pedal board. Yeah, I watched him do that.
Yeah,
tap dance around.
So he's playing bass, has the keys and that going on. So it has just this. They just have this syrup that they're just concocting together of all these like synth sounds on top of the bass and the guitar that are going on that really help kind of emulsify everything together.
Yeah. Sorry, I know I interrupted you, but like say starting from like Gallery 5, the live record, from there.
So
what's happening?
We did that. There's one more recording in the middle of that too. We did the live at Gallery 5, and then that's when John got busy with Up and his other and Thumper, his other things, and it just was like, it was a peaceful, break. We're all still homies.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. He actually played. We had Thumper come in to play in between sets of the release show at Gargling Rot.
Wow.
So at Gallery 5, we still had
that's sick.
John come in kind of like as like
it's a family thing.
Yeah, totally. It was really cool. So we continued as Doubtfire, and when we record when we recorded Sputrid, we were still
Oh yeah.
Doubtfire, and we did that with Dave Watkins at
Oh.
Dave Cave 2.0 at the Richmond Ballet, the old warehouse, and that was in Scott's edition at the time. And we recorded that one, and we were still Doubtfire, and that was just the three of us. So that was us, our returning back to our roots, basically. Still had some synth, but not as much synth as was going to happen once we got into Monolith. Because I don't know, honestly, I can't even be sure how much synth Joe even did, if any, on Sputrid. But I think there
It
is
was
some in
definitely
there.
a lot heavier and like fast, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ripping
Mm-hmm.
songs. That's
Yeah.
what I gathered from it.
Yeah. So when we finally um, went to record Monolith, we were still Doubtfire when we went to
And that's
Baltimore.
2023-ish. Well, I don't know about when you released it,
2022,
but
when we recorded
probably
it,
recording. Okay.
it was right before we decided to start the PR with Monolith, though. Nick, this was the second time when we were getting ready to do Sputrid. Nick had suggested we change the brand, rebrand. Sorry, that's the term I'm looking for. And we were like, oh, we like the name, and we just realized after we stuck with it that time that it's just not really doing us any favors. Like you said, when I said Doubtfire, the first thing you thought of was the movie,
Oh
and people
yeah.
just write it off. They don't want to look into it anymore. They just think it's a joke.
Yeah.
I totally
Yeah,
get
if they're
that.
not seeing it live, then they're
Totally
just
get
not
that. It's just
passing.
that applied context. It's just immediately you think of the movie. What else are you gonna think of when you think of that? You know, like when I thought of it, when I as a name, I was isolating it as just the word Doubtfire sounded like a cool word, and like it sounded like this, you know, it sounded like this angry emotion.
It's
If
like,
the movie was
you
never
know,
made,
yeah.
the band name would have never came through, probably. But also, if the movie was never made and we got to that band name, that probably would have worked out. But that's in an alternate universe.
Yeah.
So we were like, yes, let's do it. Let's change the name. And so we took some time, and we were throwing names around, and Nick was drawing stuff, new, concept art, and the pyramid thing stuck, and we were like, okay, we really like this, and how do where do we go from here? And I just thought of mass. I thought of like it being space. I thought of it being, like in the Catholic religion, a type of prayer time.
Yeah.
There's like a gathering of people, just a gathering of matter, um, and it could just be all these different things. And like also, the pyramids are also very mysterious. So it kind of has this weird, elusive, cryptic type of thing going on. That's kind of like I feel goes along with the music that we make.
Yeah, coincidentally, it was on Easter Sunday where instead of going to like mass, I went to the stoner doom metal show, and
Yes.
I show up at the Camel. I don't know. I know Purple Lung. That's the only band I
They
know.
were really
So that's why I went. But like everybody else on the bill, no idea. Just going in blind. I walk in. I go to the bathroom in the back, and then I come out, and there's just heavy, dense music. Like Pyramid Mass does make sense for a title in so many different ways.
Right.
But the Mass part, I think, is really like the Catholic version of Mass that you described. I like that idea because that's almost like that was like the moment I'm crawling through the crowd. There's a lot of people there, but they were all kind of spaced out, and they did this one thing where like they'll leave that first 10 or 15 feet in front of the stage completely open.
Right.
So I just walk right up front, and I'm like, well, if you're gonna leave the space there, I'm gonna go stand up front.
Don't mind if I do.
Like I'm not gonna stand 20 feet in the back with somebody in front of me.
Right. Yeah.
So I walk up and I'm like, man, this band rips. And then I look up and like you have like an incredibly great scream voice. Like
Thank you.
like everything gels really well from like the bass, the synth, the guitars, the drums. You've always been like a real ripper of a drummer, but I was I wasn't expecting the vocals to even like you're like the I guess the predominant vocalist of the band.
I would think so.
And and I was just like, man, this is great. And then I'm like staring and I'm like, I know that guy. Holy shit, this is weird moment. I got to make sure I say hi to him because now that I've been going through like my own like sobriety period and like
Fuck yeah.
kind of entering my own like straight edge period of my life, I found that I keep running into like certain people from the past
Hmm.
that were like awesome. That like I haven't seen in 10 or 15 years maybe, but they were always like that kind of like sweet soul energy.
Hmm.
And that kind of every week in like the last like 2 months, I would say, I will run into at least like one person where I'm like, man, you're so awesome. What? It's so cool that I get to run into you now. And
Yeah.
like, and I'm even in like a better space. Um, and yeah, so that was like my introduction to Pyramid Mass, was
That's
just being
great.
blown away there at the Mass on Easter Sunday.
Like I
I had
don't
just completed Lent,
like
so
my
I ate a piece
disclaimer.
of cake and then I came to the doom metal show.
The body of Christ.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the
yeah.
disclaimer is I don't want us to have any religious connection with any religion. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Like that's just I'm very open when it comes about beliefs and whatever you want to be, to each his own.
There's a lot that can be said for imagery, and plus, like, we're all still humans that are connected, regardless of if you're in a different religion or
Absolutely.
secular.
Yeah.
Because I'm a secular person, and uh, even doing things like Lent, like it was literally I was watching something on YouTube and it popped up with like Pope Leo just being like, hey, this Lent, instead of like giving up like chocolate or something weird, what if you like give up talking shit behind people's backs?
Sorry.
Or uh just yeah, even like focusing on like negative qualities of the things in your life or the people around you, and also think about just showing up for people more often, like your family.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Strangers.
yeah,
Yeah.
or even like I was talking about like not seeing my mom for 6 months.
Hmm.
From that point on, I was like, you know, I live like 5 minutes from her, and she's kind of rad. Like I don't
Yeah.
we've
Right.
always had a good relationship. There's no
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
in my case for that not to be a thing. So maybe I should just go hang out with her like once a week and watch TV or something.
Yeah, it's beautiful what sobriety will open your mind to. It's just like, oh damn, my mom's awesome, and she's still with me. Like, I want to
Yeah,
go spend some time with family.
definitely.
Yeah, and it's just like before, like me personally, I would spend all day in a miserable pile on my bed eating Thai food, breakfast, lunch,
That's
and
what I was
dinner.
doing the first like
Just
month or
isolating.
month and a half
Yeah.
of this year,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah, it's really a whole shell that you get to remove and be like, what? There's a world out here? Wow.
Yeah, especially as I stripped off like the feel, like I said, I've been sober from alcohol for a couple years now, but
Yeah.
this was the year that I was like, okay, I'm gonna quit smoking weed, because I had like a week where like maybe towards the end of January, beginning of February, where it was like a week or two of every day. I was kind of just one of those people that I don't smoke a ton at once, but like, I'll hit the bowl and when I wake up, and then every couple hours hit it again. And I just kept noticing that like I would immediately, like on top of crawling back into bed, I just hated everything. Every thought that I would have was just like extreme negativity and
Mm-hmm.
just so much self-hate that I didn't even know where it really was coming from. And then on top of it, you're kind of like watching the news all the time, and you're like, man, all the fucking world's everything sucks,
Oh yeah.
and I suck, how do I get out of bed? How do I get out of this? Um, and so that came first, was me deciding to just like, getting a little. I felt sick for a week, and I just couldn't get my mind out of the gutter,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And then I was like, okay, let me get rid of that. And then I was introduced to the idea of doing Lent like a day or two before it started. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. And I liked like the idea of like with the fasting in particular, it was like you don't spend as much time thinking about those things. So, even just doing like the one meal a day thing, it opens up the whole rest of the day. And then like a week or two into that, I decided to quit vaping too. So
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of like the last of my, bad habits as far as like consumption goes.
Yeah.
But I found like ever since then, I would wake up. There's this one thing I do where like in the first like 5 minutes of waking up, I'll just go and take a cold shower
Yeah.
for like I'll count to 60, and it's
Mm.
horrific every time. But like by like once you get to like 30 or 35, you're like, this isn't so bad. But then I can't get back into bed.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
so
You're
then
out
now
for
I'm
the day.
like I'm awake and I have to fill up all this time without crawling back into bed.
Mm,
Um,
that's good. Your good old shoehorn technique.
yeah. And so like I relate to that idea that as I've stripped away these other things, it's like without chasing them, good things kind of keep getting added into my life. Whereas like now I'm like, man, I think my life is maybe a little too full because I can kind of wake up and stay busy until I go to sleep like
Yeah.
16 hours later, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have time to like sit down and like there's no sitting down and watching TV. Like if I do that, it's the 5 minutes before I pass out.
Right. Yes.
It's
I
so
totally feel you.
different.
I feel guilty
And that's
consuming
new.
shit like that. Like I would sit down and watch TV. I'm like, I can be doing something right now. Like,
Yeah.
I just
The only times I do that now is like I said when I go hang out with my mom.
Yeah.
I'll go watch like one or two episodes of whatever show she wants to watch, and I'm like, this is good.
You're spending quality time.
Yeah.
That's different.
And it creates like a shared type of thing. Instead
Yeah.
of like talking about shows that we've watched separately,
Right.
now we're doing a thing together.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
get to talk shit to the TV together.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Hell
Kinda
yeah.
like playing a game locally with somebody else. You get to yell at the same characters.
Yeah.
I love doing that shit.
When did you start getting to like that point, like sobriety wise, or entering? That was yours all at once? Because mine is very over the course of years, kind of slowly fixing one or two things,
Yeah.
and then thinking this is better, but I can't give up all of this. And by the time I got to the point where like I've given up everything, like there's this lyric by this band Career Day that I love where it's like I'm running out of things to quit.
I like that.
I love that, and I feel like that's the point that I've kind of entered in my life.
It's not a bad problem to have. But you will find other things to quit once they'll show themselves, and then you'll have to make the decision whether you want to quit them or not.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. So my sobriety story is like lots of years of just drunken mistakes and disappointment and not really getting what I wanted out of life and wondering why everything was happening to me and not taking my, the decisions I was making with my clearest thinking at the time. So, which wasn't very clear, obviously. And so I was trying to quit. I was leaving this living situation that I was in for about a decade, and some people that lived there were super awesome, and others I didn't quite agree with too much, and a lot of it's revolved around alcoholism and just I could say substance abuse, but really it's just smoking weed too much, and because that was really my thing. I was never into like hard shit. It was just like weed and cigarettes were my vices. I mean, not cigarettes, weed and alcohol, and cigarettes.
Same. I mean, that was my boat.
Yeah, yeah. I smoked cigarettes too. So it was like, and relationship hopping. I was just addicted to that, and it was just terrible, behavior. I mean, I wasn't mistreating people, but I was also not being fair to myself or really anybody else because I didn't know what I wanted, and I wasn't figuring that out. I kept putting it on the back burner and thinking I was just going to figure it out along the way.
The lack of commitment can kind of, just drive everything wild.
Absolutely. And then, I'm just like running with no foundation. no suspension, however you want to call it. I just don't have that solid foundation. So if anything came by, anything in life were to throw a curveball at me, I would crash out.
Yes, totally feel
So
that.
easily,
And
so
then it's like 2 months of being just like doing absolutely nothing, and then you kind of crawl out and you're like, maybe I'll start fixing something,
right.
and that'll work like for maybe a month, but then something else.
Hmm.
Life's a roller coaster, and so like if you're not prepared for it to go down, even if it's a little thing, then like the little thing will crash you out
Yeah.
and it'll feel like a big thing.
Yeah. You'll get derailed.
Yeah.
It won't be just a quick descent. It'll be that and derailment, which you don't want. But if you're equipped for the descent, then you won't derail.
Yeah.
So I was working at a restaurant, which I thought I'd never do again because I had already started my painting business in like 2019, but then COVID came through and then screwed everything up. For me, I let it screw everything up for me because I was just like fed into fear, started drinking a whole lot more, and so it was like a full year of that almost. And then I kind of got back to work, and then I wasn't I wasn't really doing the best that I could. I was still drinking and everything, struggling. I ended up moving out of the place that I was in into another spot that I was like turning into a living place. Like there wasn't even a functioning bathroom there, and there was no kitchen.
Lord.
Like I had to build these things, and I was just like, I can do this. I know how to do this, and I was just taking on this stuff, and it was fun, challenging, scary, and just like too much, all at once while I was juggling, trying to get sober. So that I hadn't been drinking. Then my birthday rolled around. I thought I could drink, and then I crashed out again, basically. And then all this other stuff happened. I ended up having to leave because of a disagreement I had with the landlord that didn't even write me a lease, but that was my fault for getting myself into that mess. So, long story short, I ended up moving in with my good friends out in Chester, and they just took care of me for almost 2 years because I've known them since I was in high school, and they're just beautiful people. Shout out to Noah and Misty. I love you guys. And
It's cool to have a support system
yeah.
for those moments
Oh my
when you
God.
do like seriously actually need
Yeah.
somebody to like be like, yo, we got you for a minute.
Dude, it was just groundbreaking. Like, I would have had to move back to my parents' house, which isn't a terrible thing, but then I would have been 2 hours away from Richmond. I wouldn't have been able to play music. I wouldn't have been able to stay painting around here or doing...
Everything would have changed.
Yeah, I had to stay near Richmond, and that was my thing. And so I was like, well, I'm close enough in Chester. So, and then as soon as I moved in with them, my car died. And then I had my scooter, my Honda Ruckus. So at that point, I was working right before that, I was working for a dude, and we were building cabinets and stuff, and then he fell off a ladder, and then I couldn't finish. He was running the business, and I was like, I can't run this business for you. I'm not that skilled in this type of work. So I had to go back to kitchens. So that's how I ended up back in the kitchen. And then I tried quitting drinking again, and then
See, that's got to be even harder to do in like a restaurant setting.
it
That's always
is.
been my experience, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, no, it is. It depends on which restaurant you're working at. Thankfully, the one I did, they closed early, so when I got off of work and from the back of house, the bar wasn't open. I would have to
Sick.
go to another bar.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't like people weren't being sneaky about drinking there. I mean, if they weren't sharing the information with me, which is great. I'm glad they didn't, because that would have been even more trouble.
Yeah.
But I started like seeing a server there, and long story short, we bummed each other for like 2 months, and then I got really sad about it because it came to an end, and I didn't know why. There was no closure, and so I started drinking about it.
Yeah.
And I was probably just annoying, and that's probably why they didn't want to talk to me anymore, because I thought I could drink when I was hanging out with them, and then, when it came down to, they were like, never mind, I crashed out. And so I left that restaurant that I worked at, went to a bar, closed that bar down, went to another bar, closed that bar down, and then got on my scooter and went to ride my scooter home on Route 1 and crashed. I like browned out,
God
blacked out,
damn.
or whatever. Crashed on Route 1, and that sobered me up. And so I hit a ditch and then kind of just fell over on some gravel. Thankfully, it was a gravel driveway there, so I couldn't.
So injuries,
I was
not so bad.
amazed. It
Wow.
was crazy how lucky I was. You know, thankfully I wasn't riding a motorcycle. It was a scooter. I was going like 35 max, but
Yeah.
still, I could have really hurt a kid if I hit him. You know, it could
Oh
have been.
yeah.
It was like probably 2:30 in the morning, but it just like shook me, and I was like, oh my god, I know there's a cop that sits there. I gotta go. And then just got on my scooter and dipped out, and just parked it, passed out, woke back up 4 hours later with no alarm because I didn't have my phone on me, and was like, what happened? And I looked out the window and I was like, oh, that wasn't a dream, because I could see sticks and fucking grass hanging out of the scooter. And I was
Oh
like,
god.
fuck. And then my milk crate is on the back. It was missing. I was like, that's where my backpack lives. It's gone. All my shit was in
no.
there. I was like, fuck. And so I was like, I gotta go find it. So I got on my scooter and I rode back. I'm backtracking, and it's not in the neighborhood. I'm like, oh my god. So I gotta backtrack further, and I go up Route 1 and I finally see it, and I was like, oh my god, there it is. And so I looped around and I parked and I start going through everything. And somebody within that 4 hours had gone through it, ripped open the bag I had in there. It was a laptop bag, and they took my laptop, they took my hard drive, but what they didn't take was the weed, the mushrooms, my business cards that would have linked me right to them.
Jeez.
Had an officer found it, and my phone was in the grass, just randomly sitting there, like it popped,
Like it popped out off of you,
So
yeah.
I used to have a pocket in this like duffel bag on the scooter that was right here that I would put my phone in. So what I think happened is I like passed out and like hit the curb, bumped up, and when I hit it, it popped it out onto the ground, and then I went sliding.
Dang.
So I'm like, wow, I'm so lucky. I didn't go to jail. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't kill myself or hurt myself or anybody else. The scooter's fine. A little bit of battle scar, but really it's fine. You can't even notice it.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about like, damn, this like I could have really fucked this up. And I look over across the street, and there's a restaurant there, and the sign, the title of the restaurant's called Halfway House. And I'm like, man, if I don't take
You were
this-
looking for a sign. There it is.
There it fucking was. My dad spent the better part of 19 years in prison. From
Wow.
the time that I was like 14, 15 to like 2020. So that math maybe not working out as far as... No, that makes sense. But like, anyways, me trying to do math right now. But yeah,
We
so-
did start this pretty early in the morning.
It's
Still
okay.
morning time.
I know, I need more coffee for math. No, but like, so yeah, it was like better part of 19 years. I was in middle school when it happened, you know, and so like that was a big, you know, part of my life. That was a big thing that happened to me, and like a lot reminds me of that. The fact that he went to prison, the fact that he wasn't there, you know, the fact that you can fuck your whole life up and just be in prison for a giant portion of time. All these things are, you know, they're
Even
real.
for things that are small or seem insignificant, they can still do all the damage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all that stuff became very, very real and apparent to me as far as like a path in life that was potential. And I know that I wouldn't make it in prison. I just would not. I don't know what I would do, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
Fuck.
I don't think I'm built for that life.
I mean, everybody probably says that until they get locked up, but you know, I'm just lucky that I made the choices that I did then to avoid that. So I got...
What year was that?
That was
Ish.
September 12th, 2022.
20, okay.
Was the day that I recovered the scooter. September 11th, 2022 was the night I fucked up and crashed everything. Well, I would say that was when I was getting fucked up. I probably crashed in the...
You did pick a date that was very easy to remember.
Well, I'll never forget, I'll tell you what. Oh, man. So, I was like, okay, something's got to fucking change. I went to the car wash. I washed off the scooter, pulled all the shit out of it, went home, went on Facebook Marketplace, found a van, that van, and was like, I fucking need transportation. I need to get back to painting. I need to get the fuck out of this restaurant. I need to change everything. And I need to fucking stop drinking. That was the first thought, was I need to stop drinking. I need to never again. And then van. And then I found this thing, and it was in Bowling Greens, and I'm living in Chester at the time. And so I called them. They want 1,800 for it. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. They're there. I can go see it. Awesome. Hang up. Go get ready to go. Check the money. Fuck, I only got 15. Call him back. Hey, will you take 300 less? Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'll be right there. No questions asked. Hang up. You know, get on, and a 3-hour scooter ride to Bowling Green, Manchester. Yeah, my butt was hurting.
Lord. Yeah, because you can only go like 30, 35. Yeah.
Wide open. And so I get there, and, you know, no cell phone service. You know, there could be, you know, some Texas chainsaw shit going on in there. Who knows? They were all super, super duper sweet, and they didn't have the title, which was sketch. But I was like, this thing is giving me vibes that I can't refuse. So I put my scooter in it and drove it home, and I was like, this is amazing. A week later, got the title, and then I got out of the restaurant that I was working at, because I went to work at a part-time gig at a retreat, and that's how I got out of the restaurant. I worked in that kitchen for like a week, and then after that it was like, I'm gonna go and start painting now. The last day I was working at that retreat, I got 3 calls from people that wanted things painted in their house.
Yeah, another
like
good sign of like,
here, this is what's next. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, the
God, I
amount
love
of joy
that.
I felt. Oh my god, it was incredible. So when I was working at, that's when I had the accident. That's when I quit drinking. A month after that, no, it was probably, yeah, it was about a month after that. I was still working there, trying to figure out how to get out of there. And it wasn't soon after that that I did, but I decided, because I'm prepping in the back, I'm breaking down like 2 cases of chicken breasts. It's like 40 pounds of chicken a week.
Yeah.
And it's just coming from Cisco, you know, and it's just got whatever in it. And there's all these weird things I'm cutting out, like, this is gross.
I mean, I've been there. I was a meat cutter for a couple, it's like 6 years.
So I quit eating meat.
So,
After reading some books, I just quit eating meat. I was like, this is gross. I don't want to do this anymore. And I started feeling better. And I was like, what? So I quit drinking, and I started feeling better. I quit eating meat. I started feeling better. I started getting into that round of just like, all right, well, what else can I quit?
Yeah.
You know, I started getting addicted to quitting almost.
Yeah.
And
And it is like, I think the tough part for me, which it sounds like you kind of slowly figure it out, but like as you quit something, you need to replace it with something good.
Yes.
In some kind of way. And like, it's nice where like sometimes even being confused about it, when you are quitting stuff, the universe will kind of provide and be like, hey, try this out, or how about you do this for like a month or 2 and see how that feels. And then you're like, all right, maybe I'll go for like a walk for like an hour or 2 every day, or something weird.
Yeah.
Or
right?
you know, quit eating.
But you gotta let it.
Yeah.
You gotta let the universe do it. There's a thing, shout out to Bobby for showing me this, another Bobby.
It's a good name.
But it is, it's a great name. He's a book that he showed me, it's called Pronoia. And it's the opposite of paranoia. And it's the thought that the universe is conspiring to shower you with blessings.
Yeah,
You just have to
I've
let it.
never heard that term, but I've had that thought a lot, especially in the last few months.
Yeah, you just have to let it. But you also have to keep doing good stuff for yourself in your own.
It's keeping the right priorities. I've been thinking about that a lot. I was talking to like my brother the other day, and it's kind of like, you know, even as I pack in doing more things that I find interesting, or I don't know, in a way like ego self-serving in a way.
Right.
It's like I I want to make time to like mow the lawn, or contribute to like my little household here, or like you know, still go see my mom once or twice a week. Like, I don't want to do things that take that away.
Right.
So if I have to replace these very important little things that create a good routine for me, that I feel like maybe even brought me to this, or whatever I'm doing now, or, you know, it seems very important to keep the right priorities in check and not just be like, oh shit, everything's working out, let me go back, maybe I'll just start smoking weed again.
Right.
You know, everything's going good,
Yeah.
I can probably do these other things too. And it's like keeping myself in check, I find to be very good. I love that
Pronoia.
pronoia idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll show you the book. I got it inside. Um,
Hell yeah.
we'll put the link of the author somewhere
Definitely.
so people can check it out. But it's definitely awesome. Reading books is something that I never gave time to because I was drunk all the time. I use ADHD as an excuse, like I couldn't sit and I couldn't focus. But
Had that same
hey,
thing.
guess what? I quit drinking and I can sit and I can focus on a book. I can give time to things that matter and not become impatient with sitting and doing something that's healthy with myself.
Yeah.
Because
Because you're not getting an immediate, there's no instant gratification from reading books.
Yeah.
It's almost, I'm sure there's a better way to put it, but in a sense, it's kind of a slog. You have to sign up to spend 10 hours going word by word through something.
Yeah, it's a
sometimes.
practice.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
practice. Sometimes it can be very hard to get through, and sometimes it can be very enjoyable, depending on the content of what you're absorbing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, if you're trying to learn something and educate yourself, it can be very monotonous and boring. But
Yeah.
that's the slog.
Or even like, you know, I find, you know, reading self-help style books isn't so much something that I want to do constantly, but
Yeah,
I do find it, like you said, as a practice to kind of put the same or similar information back into my brain, even if it's somebody else writing about their experience, but essentially they're saying, you know, kind of the same sort of stuff. Like you're not going to get a wildly different, you might get a different perspective, and maybe for some people you find that one special one, but you have to read like 10 different books
Yeah.
that are basically saying the same thing over and over again.
But one says it the right way. It
And
says
then
it,
the
it
rest are
articulates it.
reinforcing that idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's good because you're going through and you're grooming the information and you're just like picking out the little gems here and there, even though it's just like, oh well, I've gotten this before. But that's a cool way of putting it. I didn't think of it that way. So
Yeah,
that's
or
what
it's interesting I find it interesting hearing how people get to similar places as me.
Yeah.
You know, it's even like talking to you here, like it's interesting having such vastly different journeys, but kind of ending up in a similar style place.
Yeah.